Hi everyone, welcome to your gentle yoga with a chair. My name is Alesha and I'll be guiding you through this practice. Just know that throughout the class, you can always change things up a little bit if you find something isn't working quite right for your body. And I'll also be offering variations for postures during class. So we'll begin a warm-up and a grounding session in the seat, and then move up to some bigger postures. So you'll need a steady chair and a yoga mat. And you could come up to a comfortable seat. So for you, that might mean that you're a little more near the edge. I find that helpful, especially if I'm feeling a little bit sleepy. And if you're looking for a little more ease, you could lean in towards the back of the chair. Your feet could be about hips distance apart or so, and just let your hands and arms land where they feel comfortable. So just a comfortable, easy seat. And then from here, you could start to lower your gaze a little bit, or even close your eyes for a few moments to settle into your practice. And then you might start to notice your feet on the ground, and the feeling of the feet on the floor, the pressure of the feet on the floor, and where you feel the support of the earth beneath you. Then start to bring your attention up the legs and start to notice where you feel that same sense of grounding in your legs and in the seat. Just a gentle pressure of the legs and the chair supporting you. If your hands are on your lap, you might notice the pressure of your hands, your wrists, maybe even a bit of your forearms, pressing down into the tops of your thighs. And if your lips are closed, you might notice a soft sense of grounding throughout the mouth, your upper lip in contact with the lower lip. And if your eyes are closed, you might even feel the contact of your upper eyelid with a lower eyelid and a sense of grounding there. And then if you'd like to make an intention for your practice, you could do so now. It could be something simple like to be present. And if you don't have anything right now, that's okay. Then begin to bring your attention to your breath. As you breathe in, you might notice a sense of buoyancy or levity throughout the torso, the chest. And as you exhale, the softening and everything draws back in. Soft expansion as you inhale. And a gentle release as you exhale. You don't have to do anything special with your breath right now, just notice. And then follow 3 more breaths, just at your own pace. The breath in, the breath out. One more. And out it goes. If your eyes were lowered or closed, you could start to let a little bit of light in. Lift your gaze, you could blink a few times. And you could start to move throughout your fingers and toes a little bit. We'll get ready with a warm-up. So we'll be warming up from the head down to the feet, waking up all the joints, and then getting into some standing postures, perhaps with the use of a chair. So if you're really far back in your chair, you might like to come up a little more forward and find a tall seat. Then begin to lift your gaze up towards the ceiling. And then lower your gaze down towards the floor. If you like, you could coordinate with your breath. Inhale, lift your chin up. And exhale, lower your chin down. Again, inhale, look up. And exhale, look down. And just one more each way. Inhale, lift your chin, look up. And exhale, lower your chin, look down. From here, come back to center. We'll move a little from side to side. So start to look over to your right, then back to the middle, and look over to your left. You could add breath with this too. Inhale, center. Exhale to your right. Inhale to the middle. And as you exhale, look to your left. Just a few more like that. Center. Right. Center. Left. Breathe into the middle. Breathe out, look to your right. Breathe into the middle. And as you breathe out, look to your left. Then come back to center. And we'll do a little side bend. Bring your right ear down towards your right shoulder. And you might start to feel a stretch on the left side of your neck, and maybe even the top of your left shoulder. And see if you could let your head and neck be soft here. And really work with gravity. Now you're always welcome to stay here. If you don't feel a whole lot of stretch yet, you could reach your left hand down towards the floor or hold on to the side of the chair. Go to a place where you'd like to stay for 3 more breaths. Feeling a nice stretch throughout the left side and letting the shoulders be soft. 1 more breath here. Let it go out. If your left hand is down, bring it up. I like to help my head up here with my right hand, just pressing on the temple and assisting it back up to center. We'll try the other side. Left ear towards left shoulder. And just notice what this side feels like. It might be different from the first, and that's okay. If you feel quite comfortable here, stay here. Perhaps you reach down with your right hand towards the floor or clasp onto the side of the chair. Go to a place where you could notice just 3 more breaths. Steady breath in. Steady breath out. And then one more. Let the breath go out. If you have your right hand down, bring it back. And you could help your head up with your left hand pressing on the temple and assisting your head back up. We'll move on to the shoulders. So you can do some shoulder loops, reaching your shoulders up towards your ears, and then send your shoulders back and down. And then you could inhale to lift the shoulders up, and exhale, send your shoulders back and down. Inhale, shoulders rise. As you exhale, slide your shoulders back and soften them down. A couple more like that. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. And then one more in this direction. Lift. Exhale, back and down. And we'll go the other way this time. Reach your shoulders back, and then up, and then forward, and then down. You could inhale to lift, exhale, soften forward, and down. And you might notice that your arms and your upper back might want to move a little bit, and that's okay. A couple more like this. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower, and down. One more. Exhale, lower, and soften down. This time we'll move one at a time. So reach your right shoulder up, and then back. Send it down. Then your left shoulder rises. Reach it back, and soften your left shoulder down. And you could add breath. Inhale, lift your right shoulder. Exhale, soften, back, and down. Left shoulder lifts. Exhale, back and down. And then when you move your right shoulder, you might start to look over to your right as you breathe in. And then exhale, soften everything down, return to the middle. And then when you move your left shoulder, turn and look a little bit to your left. And then come back to center. Maybe you start to twist a little bit to your right when you look right and move your right shoulder. And then come back. And then twist a little to your left when you move your left shoulder and look a little to your left. Do that a couple more times. Inhale to the right. Exhale, soften back and down. Inhale, left. Exhale, soften back and down. One more to your right. Breath in. And exhale, soften everything back to center. One more to your left. Breath in. And breath out. Return to center. From here, we'll move on to Rippled Fog Sun. So you can bring out your right hand down low and imagine you're looking out at a shiny, shimmery body of water in the sun. So it could be summer or someplace tropical, you get to choose. And then as you inhale, wiggle your fingers as if it's the water and bring your hand over to your left. Your gaze could follow your hand. And as you exhale, go back all the way around the horizon. And if you're like me and you live in the Maritimes, fog might roll in just above that body of water. So inhale, arm is just above, fog rolls in, breath in. And as you exhale, clear the fog away, breath out. Once the fog is clear, the sun shines. Inhale, lift your right arm up and over to your left. And as you exhale, swoop your arm down. We'll do this a few more times. Ripples down low, inhale. Exhale back. Fog rolls in, breath in. Clear it away, breath out. Fog is clear, sun shines, inhale, lift, maybe look up. And exhale, back down. One more on this side, inhale across. Exhale back. Fog, inhale. Exhale, clear it away. fog is clear, sun shines, inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower your right arm down. We'll switch sides. Left hand out, down low. You can imagine the same place, or maybe you're someplace else, and there's water shimmering and shining in the sun. Bring your left hand across, inhale over to the right, wiggling the fingers, and then exhale back. And again, your gaze could follow your hand. Now just above, fog rolls in, breath in, so you're about shoulder height here. And then exhale, clear the fog away. Once the fog is clear, sun shines. Inhale, swoop up and over. You could look up if you like. Exhale, lower back down. Again, ripples down low. Inhale. And exhale back. Fog rolls in, breath in. Clear it away, breath out. Sun shines. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Just one more time. Ripples down low. Inhale. Exhale back. Fog rolls in, breath in. Clear all the fog away, breath out. Sun shines, inhale, reach up and over. Exhale, lower back down. You can do a few shoulder loops after that, reaching shoulders up. And then back and down, just a couple times. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. From here, we'll move on to the spine. So come into a seated cow. So tip your hips, your top of your hips forward, and it's like you're sending your tailbone back behind you. Let your belly puff forward, your chest puff forward and up. You might even reach your shoulders back a little bit, and you could look up. Stay for a breath in. And then as you exhale, bring everything to center. Now you might stay here if your back is feeling a little grumpy today, or if you're feeling pretty good, you could start to tuck your tailbone under, round your spine, and let your head come down. So rounding a little bit. Again, inhale, come into your cow, puff your chest forward, shoulders back a little bit, look up. And exhale, hips tuck under, round through the spine, and let your head be soft and heavy. Inhale, belly sways wide through the chest. Exhale, curl. And just one more each way. Inhale, sway. Exhale, round. And then come back to center. From here, we'll do a side bend. So we'll come into a seated side stretch. Reach your right palm up. Inhale, up and over. You could have your arm really bent if you like, and hand behind your head for support, or reach up like a crescent moon shape. If you feel pretty good here, your gaze could stay centered. Maybe you even look up. See if you could stay for 3 more breaths. Opening up through the right side waist. One more breath. And out it goes. On your next inhale, rise up. And as you exhale, let your arm float down. Switch sides. Left arm out, palm up. Inhale, reach up and over. And then choose your gaze. It could be forward or up. Go to a place where you could feel some space between your left hip and left shoulder. 3 more breaths. Last one. And when you're ready, inhale, rise up. And as you exhale, arm lowers down. We'll move on to around the hips. So we'll do a little windshield wiper, allowing your knees to drift over to your right a bit, and then over to your left. So this works best, I find, when I'm close to the edge of the chair. So living life on the edge a little bit. And just go to a place that feels good on your hips and on your knees. So it could be a generous movement, it might be tiny. Either way is okay. And then one more to your right, moving from the top of the hips, and one more to your left. Then return to center. We'll wake up around the knees. So if you're kind of close to the front, sometimes it's nice to scooch back a little bit. And then as you inhale, kick out your right foot. And your toes might flex in towards your knee here. As you exhale, bring your foot down and land it down. Left foot kicks, reach out. You might start to feel some activity around the front of the thigh here. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, left leg kicks. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, left leg. Exhale, lower down. And sometimes I like a little support, so hold on to the side of the chair. Alternating sides here, left foot kicks. And exhale, lower it down. If your breath doesn't match mine, just keep going. And then lower it down. And left leg kicks. Lower it down. You might start to notice a little bit of work in the core of the belly here. Right leg kicks out. Lower it down. And left leg. Lower it down. Soften both feet down. And then from here, we'll wake up around the ankles. So come up onto your toes. And then lower your heels down. Lift all 10 toes, but keep the balls of the feet down and see if you could spread your toes out wide. And soften the toes. Lift your heels up. You might start to feel a little work into the calves. And then lower your heels down, lift your toes, spread them wide. And soften them down. Lift your heels. Lower your heels. Lift your toes. And spread them wide. And then land your toes down. Let your feet relax for a moment. We'll go onto the wrists. So give the feet and legs a break. And see if you could roll your wrists and your hands so that your fingers are going in an outward motion on both sides. And then as you do this, see if you can bring your arms out wider as you're rotating your wrists so that your fingers are going outward. So you're kind of making like a wing here. And then once you're out all the way, see if you can go reverse. So fingers go in inward circles, and then your arms are coming back in towards center. And you might add breath with that. Inhale, reach out. Rotating outward with the fingers. And then as you exhale, rotate in, bring everything in. And you might notice your elbows want to move a little bit, maybe your shoulders move a little bit. It's all good. And then again, reach out. And depending on the day, you might hear clicking and popping and all kinds of good stuff. And then go the other way, fingers in, arms in. And then one more time out. And then one more time in, fingers in, arms in. Then let your arms soften down. We'll do the same thing, but with the ankles. So you might want to come up a little bit closer towards the chair, and you'll get a little bit of core activation here too. So reach your right leg up with your knee bent, and draw circles with your toes going outwards as you move your leg outwards to the side. Go to a place where you feel pretty steady, but it's a bit of a balance. And then roll your toes inward as you bring your leg back in. And then plant it down. We'll switch sides. So left toes out, rotate out, open the leg out to the side. You could hold on to the side of your chair if you like. And then draw circles going inward with the toes, and then bring your leg back in and plant it down. So we'll do that a few more times. Toes out on the right, open the leg out to the right. So again, we're balancing a little bit here. And then coming back in with the toes, leg goes in, plant it down. Left leg, toes out, leg out. And then bring it back in. Plant it down. Then right leg out, toes out. Make sure you're still breathing. And then toes in, leg in. And then one more time to your left. Open out the leg, rotate the toes out, and then rotate the ankles so toes drift in And then plant everything down to center. So from here, we're probably pretty warmed up through all the joints. We're gonna move on to stand. So we can do this a few ways, but we're gonna do it with a chair blast off. So chair posture, looks like we're seated in a chair, but we're using the legs to keep us upright. So it looks like this. You can choose to have your arms forward, heart center, or even up overhead if that works for you. We'll go for 7, but know that it's okay if you want to do 1, 2, skip a few. I'm not counting. And you can just do the arms too if you like. So depending on how you feel today. You can start with your feet about hips distance apart, and you might like to come up to the front of the chair and lean forward so your nose over toes, they say. So you're a bit of an angle here. Then press into your feet. Inhale, rise up for chair. And then as you exhale, lower down softly, slowly, and then come all the way down. If you're nervous, you could always tap onto the chair, make sure it's still there. Sometimes I do that. I'll go for 6. And then come down with control if you can. 5. Using the strength of the legs. And strength of the legs to lower 2. 4. And then come on down. 3. Keep breathing. And come on down. 2. And then come on down. Last one. Inhale. And then exhale, lower down. Just stay here for a breath or two and notice how you feel. It's common for the heart rate to go up. You might start to feel a little bit warmer, and that's okay. Now when you're ready, you can come up to stand in mountain at the back of your chair. I like to have at least 2 of the legs on the mat, so it's not going to slip and slide away from me. And we'll come into a balanced posture. So you might like to have 1 hand or even 2 hands on the chair. If you want to freestyle, you could do no hands. We'll come into our balancing posture, so balancing star. Ground down into your right foot and bring your left toes out to the side. Now you might feel comfortable here. You could reach your left arm out, maybe 2 arms out. Now if you feel really steady, you could stay here. If you don't feel a whole lot happening yet, you could lift your left toes off the floor and then rotate at your hips so your left toes point forward. So now you're looking like a star. Sometimes it helps to focus your gaze on something that doesn't move. So it could be someplace across the room or on the floor. Stay for 3, 2, last one. Bring everything back in, plant your feet down, arms come down. Sometimes it's nice just to shake it out a little bit. So you can bend one knee and then the other and just release any tension that might have built up in the legs here. And you get to choose, so you could have the chair in front of you, or if you're using one hand, bring it over to your left side. Press into your left foot, get steady, then toes out on the right. So you have this wide stance. Right arm could come out to part of a capital T. Maybe left arm goes out to complete the T. Option to stay here or lift your right toes. And then notice where the toes are. If they're out to the side, that's okay, but you might get a little work on the outer hip here if the right toes are forward. Steady your gaze. We'll stay for 3, 2, Last one. And then everything comes back to center, hopefully with control. Plant both feet down. You might shake it out a little bit. Sometimes it's nice to come into a standing, swinging twist. So if you're really close to your chair, you might want to back away a little bit. Bring your feet a little wider than your hips. Pivot on your right toes and face the left. So you're twisting a little to your left. And then land your right foot down. Pivot on your left toes, face the right. And continue with that. Letting your arms start to swing and sway as you pivot from side to side. Almost as if your arms are closed on a clothesline in the breeze. And then one more each way. Return to center. Walk your feet in and find your mountain. So mountain's just shoulders relaxed, palms forward, standing tall. We'll come into mountain with prayer and wings, or prayer arms. So you can bring your hands to heart center, and then bring your arms out wide. As you inhale, arms reach up for extended mountain. Palms touch. Exhale, arms come down and hands come down through the center of your chest. We'll do that a few times. So arms reach out. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, arms lower through the center. Again, inhale, reach out, up. Palms touch. Exhale, hands lower. If this is feeling a little sticky on the shoulders, you could always reach your arms a little more forward rather than out to the sides. That's okay. We'll see if we can go for 5 more at your own pace. Maybe you look up when you reach your arms up. And then exhale, arms lower. Reaching out, breath in. Exhale, arms float down. Just a few more. Still steady in your legs. Rooted down through your feet. One more time. Inhale, reach out, up. Exhale, arms lower, mountain. You might start to notice a little bit of energy moving in the body. Maybe your heart rate's going a little faster. And that's all good. Now from here, you could face the seat of your chair inward towards your body. So you could flip it around if you have the tall part facing you. And we'll do some standing postures. Now you could do this standing, or if you like a little support, you could hinge at your hips and place your hands down at the seat of your chair. Press into your right foot and take a step back with your left, coming into a warrior 1 legs. So your feet could be about hip width apart. That might be about 2 fists or so apart. And the distance of your legs lengthways could be narrow for support, or it could be as long as 1 leg's distance, or somewhere in between. Bend your front knee and see if you could see your right big toe. So we're just making sure the front knee and ankle are going in the same direction. So if your knee tends to go inward, just pivot your foot so it goes inward and it matches. Your back foot's on a bit of an angle, about 45 degrees or so. Once you feel strong and steady in your stance, you could lift your arms up. Notice the contact of your feet on the ground, and see if you could stay pressing into the outer border of your left foot. And the whole front foot is grounding down. Now notice where the strength of the legs can make a little space throughout your torso. You have an option to stay here, or maybe you add the arms just like in mountain for prayer and wing. So you could bring your hands to heart center. As you inhale, reach your arms out and then up. You might even look up a little bit. Exhale, lower your arms down through the center of the chest. Again, inhale, reach out, upwards. Exhale, arms lower. And legs are still steady. You got this. Inhale, reach out, up. Exhale, down. 2 more. Inhale, reach up, up. Exhale, down. Last one. Exhale, arms lower. From here, you can start to straighten your front leg. You might feel good right about now. And then, if your hips are a bit of askew here, that's okay, but see if you could now angle your front hip points to face towards the chair. That might mean that you angle your back foot a little bit differently. We'll come into pyramid. So you could start with a front bent knee, hinge at your hips, finding a long spine. Your hands could come to the top of the chair or even down to the seat of the chair. Now this might be enough. You might start to feel a stretch through the back of your right leg into the calf. If you don't feel a whole lot going on yet, start to straighten your right knee a little bit. And as you do that, see if you could also find length from your tailbone to the top of your head. So it's a nice supported pyramid. If your wrists start to feel a little tender here, you can always take your fists down onto the seat of the chair if you're down that far. And we'll stay for 3 more breaths. Staying rooted in the feet, steady through the legs. Notice 1 more breath here. And a long breath out. Now when you're ready, rebend your right knee if it was straightened. Press into both feet. Inhale, rise up with a tall spine, and you could reach your arms up for warrior 1 again. As you exhale, you can bring your hands either to the top of the chair or the seat of the chair and come into a downward facing dog with the chair. So you can walk your front foot back to meet the other, and then all 10 toes point forward. Finding a hinge, flexing at the hips, sending the hips back, and you might have a little bend in your knees here. Now this can feel really nice in an upside down L shape, or maybe even a little higher if that feels better on your body. If you like, you could bring your hands to the seat of the chair, walk your feet back a little more, and now you're in a bit of an inversion. So you can do this if your blood pressure is happy, you don't have anything going on with the eyes, like glaucoma. And sometimes it can be nice to have that feeling of being upside down. Wherever you are, notice 5 more breaths. Staying steady in the feet. Length through the legs and back. Notice the breath in, breath out, and then 1 more. Inhale and exhale. Then from here, bend your knees, look forward, walk your feet up to the chair. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. And as you exhale, you could hinge at your hips and fold forward a little bit more. So you might come down 1/4 of the way or half of the way. Then press steadily into your feet. Inhale, reach up for extended mountain. Exhale, arms lower down. Find your mountain. We'll move on to the second side. So you could stay upright, or if you like a little support, hands could come to the chair, either top of the chair or seat. Ground down strongly into your left foot and take a step back with the right. Land the right foot down on an angle and find your warrior one. So feet are hip width apart, and they could be a few feet distance apart lengthways, or again, maybe as long as one leg's distance. Front toes are kind of forward, and again, the knee and ankle like to hang out together. Once you feel really strong and stable here, you could reach your arms up. Now, if you're craving stillness in your practice, know that it's totally okay to either have your hands on the chair or up. But I'll invite you to find some movement here on the second side for prayer and wing. So hands come to the center of the heart space. Reach your arms out with palms out. Inhale, rise the arms up. And exhale, lower your arms down through the center of the body. Again, inhale, reach out and up. Exhale, lower your arms. Still keeping the legs steady here as you find movement through the upper body. Exhale, lower. Just a couple more. Inhale, reach out and up. Exhale, arms lower down. And then one more. Exhale, arms lower. From here, you can start to straighten your front knee. And then notice where your pelvis is. Sometimes it's even helpful to bring your hands to your pelvis and notice where it is. Often it's a little bit askew, and that's totally okay. But for the forward fold, we'll just angle the right hip a little bit more forward towards the chair. And that might mean you change the angle of your back foot or even narrow the stance a little bit. Then rebend your left knee and hinge forward from your hips. So you're deepening the front hip creases. Hands come down to the top of the chair or the seat of the chair. And again, you have a few options here. So palms could come down. It could be a nice wrist stretch. If that feels really tender today, you could also take your fists into the chair with your thumbs forward. Finding a little lift of the breastbone here, reaching it slightly forward, and lengthen through your neck. Now this might be a great stretch already, or perhaps you start to straighten your left knee a little bit. You might even go all the way straight. And then notice what happens to your rib cage here. For some people, the back ribs might pop up towards the sky. That might mean that you need to rebend their front knee a little bit. And for other people, like me, you might notice your belly dips down to the ground. If that happens, just tuck your front ribs up and back a little bit. And then notice 3 more breaths, just right here. Stretching through the legs, the back. Steady through your feet. One more breath. And a long empty. When you're ready to rise, bend your left knee. Press strongly into both feet. Inhale, rise your torso. Reach your arms up for your warrior one. As you exhale, arms lower. And we'll come into downward facing dog with the chair again. So you can bring your hands to the top of the chair or maybe even the seat of the chair. Walk your front foot back to meet the other. It could be a big step or a few small steps. And then rearrange all 10 toes so they point towards the chair and your feet are about hips distance apart. Finding that hinging action from your hips. sending your buttocks back in space a little bit. So we're looking for some length through the spine. If your hands are on the seat of the chair, you could walk your feet back even a little bit more. Lengthen through the shoulders. An option to bend the knees. Go to a place where you could keep 3 more steady breaths. Noticing your foundation, your hands, your feet. And notice where you could find the length in between those 2 spaces. Just another breath. And then as you exhale, bend your knees, look towards the chair, and you can walk your feet forward. Hands could again be on the seat or to the top of the chair. Press into your feet, inhale, halfway lift, lengthen through the spine. And as you exhale, you could hinge at your hips and fold a little bit. Then press into your feet, inhale, extended mountain. Reach your arms up high. Exhale, lower your arms down. Find your mountain. And we'll be here for 3 breaths. You have a little bit of time to settle into your foundation, your feet. Notice where your gaze lands. And just another breath. Full empty out. From here, I'll invite you to find a seat on your chair again. So you might need to rearrange it where you have some space. We'll come into some stretches for the legs and a little bit of movement for the spine. So from here, bring your right knee out to the right. Now, if this feels really good on your hips, you could always stay here. This is great. Maybe you walk yourself a little more to the right. I like to kind of find the edge of the chair, the corner of the chair, so both hips are supported. And slide your left leg back for a lunge. Now, it could be a little bit. If you happen to have a pillow or something handy, you might even slide a support or a block under your left shin. Option to tuck your back toes under or just point them back if that feels better on your ankles and feet. If you feel really steady, you could allow your whole left hip to come off of the chair. I like to hold on to the back of the chair with this just so I'm a little more balanced. And then reach the arm that's towards me up. So the one that's not towards the back of the chair. So this is our Crescent Moon Lunge. If you feel really good here, you're getting a great stretch into the front of that back thigh and maybe even into the belly. You're always welcome to stay as you are. If you don't feel a whole lot yet, you could add a side bend where you lean towards the back of the chair and reach that top arm up and over like a crescent moon side stretch. Go to a place where you could stay for 3 more breaths. Steady in the front leg, a little stretch in the back. One more inhale. And one more exhale. When you're ready, if you're tilted towards the back of the chair, rise up and let your arm come down. Now, I like to help my back leg forward, so I'll hook behind the thigh or the knee and then bring it forward to meet the other leg. From here, we'll come into a version of gate. So you can bring your front leg out to the side a little bit, so it'll look a little bit like a seated goddess. Now, if this feels great on your hips, you're welcome to stay here. Maybe you come into gate, where you kick out your front foot. And you have a few options here. So if it feels better on your hip to land your sole of foot down to the ground, you can. Often lately, I'll like my toes up towards the sky. A little bend in the knee might be nice. So come into open gate. You could either bring your backhand towards the top of the chair or the seat of the chair, and then reach the other arm up. You could lean back a little bit, just like we did earlier with that crescent lunge. Notice where you could find some space here throughout the side waist, throughout the leg that's extended, if you're extending it. One more breath. And a long empty. From here, bring your torso up to center, and you might even close the gate. So your hand that was up now slides down your front thigh, and you might lean a little bit over to the leg that's extended out to the side. Option to stay here, or reach your back arm up towards the ceiling. Still grounded down into the leg that's bent, and still grounded down through the leg that's extended out. And then stay for 3 more breaths. One more breath in. Let it go out. Return yourself back up to center. Arm comes down. Rebend the leg if it was straightened. And we'll move on to the second side. So you can walk yourself to center. And again, we'll go through stages. So you can feel out what feels best for you today. Left leg out to the side. Option to stay here. Maybe you start to come into more of a lunge where you pivot yourself more towards the left and reach your back leg behind you. If you use it the first time, you could use a little support under your right shin or a block, a pillow, whatever you got. Toes could be tucked under or pointed back. We're mostly just going for the stretch here on the front of the right thigh. You could hold onto the back of the chair and reach your right arm up. Now if you feel an awesome stretch right here, stay just as you are, that's perfect. If you don't feel a whole lot, you can start to lean your torso back towards the back of the chair, reaching your right arm up and over. Go to a place where you could keep 3 more steady breaths. Just the breath in, the breath out, all at your own pace. And then one more. A long empty. Inhale, reach your arms and torso up. You could hook your right hand behind the back leg and slide it forward. It's just nice to have a hand sometimes, you know? And then from here, we'll move on to our gate. So you can bring your right leg out to the side a bit. And it might be like here, you have your goddess legs. That's totally perfect. If you like, you could straighten your front leg out a bit. Option to have your sole of foot down. That way your hip might be a little more rotated forward. Or you could allow your toes to come up towards the sky, flexed in towards your front knee. And that way the hip could be a little more open. It really just depends on how you feel here. Moving into our open gate. So you could bring your back hand towards the chair or the top of the chair or the seat of the chair. Then reach your right arm up to the sky. You might even lean back a little bit, pressing into your back arm. Finding some space here through the legs, through the spine. You could look forward or even up. 3 more breaths. Last one. Now when you're ready, inhale, come upright. Let your arm float down. Again, you could have this front knee bent. That's totally okay. If it still feels good to straighten it, you can. Slide your right leg down the front and reach your back arm up to the sky. Now, if you are working on balance, you could hold onto the chair. That's totally valid and okay. So we're shortening a little bit through the right side and now lengthening through the left, the side that's towards the back of the chair. And could you stay for 3 more breaths? How could you stay here? And 1 more breath in. A long empty out. When you're ready, inhale, rise upright with your torso. Arms could lower. Rebend the front leg if it was straightened. And walk yourself back to the center. From here, we'll do a bit of a back bend. We did some forward bends earlier, and sometimes it's nice to go the other way. So we'll come into more of a cow posture where you tilt the top of your hips forward, let your belly puff out a little bit, let your chest puff out like you're proud, and you might even look up to the sky. Now you could stay here with hands on lap. You might even explore what it's like to reach your hands towards the seat of the chair or even the back of the chair. And then you might get a stretch through the chest here, through the front of the shoulders. And your breath might even switch a little bit more to the front of the body. So you might feel the front ribs expand a little more as you breathe in, and then lower as you breathe out. Staying for 3 more breaths. Sometimes I imagine I'm like a figurehead on the front of a boat, kind of leading the way. It's really open and expansive and free. 1 more breath. And then as you exhale, if you're holding onto the chair, you can bring your hands forward, let your hands plant on your thighs, bring your torso to center, your shoulders, your chest to center, and just notice how that feels. From here, we'll come into a stretch in the other direction for the shoulders. So we'll come into a version of eagle arms. You could bring your arms out wide as you inhale, like you're gonna give someone a great big hug. And then as you exhale, scoop your right arm under the left. Your hands could come to opposite elbows. Maybe walk your hands up to the upper arms, or you might be able to hold on to the backs of the shoulders. And then notice if you could allow your shoulder blades to wrap forward. So you might start to feel a little more space between the shoulder blades. And you could say a little thank you to yourself for showing up today. Sometimes showing up is hard. Notice another breath right here. And let it all go out. Now this time, inhale, reach your arms out like you're going to give someone a great big hug. And this time, left arm under. Options for hands to elbows, hands to upper arms, or shoulders. You might even grab onto the backs of the shoulders. And then you might even think of someone that you're grateful for here. It could even just be a pet. That's totally okay. It can really bring a lot of joy to our lives. Staying for one more breath right here. And the long empty. Now this time, inhale, reach your arms out wide, send your elbows back a little bit, and then puff out your chest for one more time. You might even look up. And then as you exhale, bring everything back into center. From here, we'll move on to a relaxation part of our class for about 15 minutes. If you feel really comfortable upright, you're always welcome to stay here in the chair. If you like to get down on the ground, you could use the chair to come into kneeling and then roll onto your side. Sometimes legs in the chair is nice. So once you're on your side, you could bring your legs up onto the chair so your ankles and your calves are supported, maybe even right up to the knee. If you're on a couch or by a couch, you could use that as well. It could be nice and soft. And perhaps you add a little something behind your head if you're on the ground, or if you're in the chair and you want to really let go and relax, you could come towards a wall and maybe even let your head come back into the wall. If you have some space between the wall and your head, a little pillow could be nice. Make sure that you're warm and that you're supported. Here you might even dim down the lights a little bit. The first part of the relaxation, I'll be guiding you. In the last 5 minutes or so, I'll be quiet, just so you can have your own experience. If you're in the chair, you could settle back towards the seat, towards the back of the chair. Wherever you are, settle in. Get a little more comfortable. You could choose to keep your eyes softly open, or you might choose to close them all the way. And then notice where you might be just naturally holding on to some extra tension. It's common to hold tension around the jaw or the neck or shoulders. And sometimes you might be able just to let that go on a breath out, just that unconscious tension. So as you breathe in, imagine you could send fresh air right to those spots. And as you exhale, let it drop, let it go. And a few more times like that. Just a natural breath. Soft, empty. And then begin to notice what it's like to be here in a quiet space in stillness. Notice what it's like to be here supported. You're supported by your props, by the chair, supported by the earth. Notice this sense of grounding. And see if you could let the muscles let go and soften down into the earth a little more. There's no muscles really working. Softening into the support. can start to let your legs be a little heavier, your feet. Let your hips relax down. The muscles of the torso, the back, soften. They let go. Your shoulders soften. Your arms, your hands. And for a little while, the hands have nothing to do but just rest. Soften through your upper back. Let your head and your neck be relaxed and heavy. And know that you can fully let go and the earth will support you here. The earth can support all that you carry. Notice if there's any muscles around the face that could let go. Your forehead, your cheeks. And then start to notice areas of your body that feel a little lighter, like they might have a little more space. A little more freedom or levity. That might be areas like your chest, your abdomen, the fronts of your legs or arms, even around your face. A sense of buoyancy, just like a breath in. Notice where your body could feel a little lighter, a little more spacious. And then see if you could feel both sensations at the same time, this duality. The feeling of support beneath you and the feeling of levity or lightness on the front body. You might even notice that same quality within the body, with the breath. The sense of levity, expansion as you inhale. The sense of softening and grounding as you breathe out. It's almost as if the inhale is like summer, expanding, and the exhale is like winter, grounding and contraction. Finding balance between the two. And then letting that go and just noticing your whole body here. Your whole body and all the components, all the parts working together. The breath, the body, the mind, all together. The whole body. Softening your whole body into the support. And I'll give you a few moments where I'm not speaking to really integrate your practice today. Begin to notice where you are in your space. Notice any thoughts that might have passed by. And then softly let them go. Bring your attention back to that sense of grounding where you feel supported and held here on the earth. And then start to wake up slowly. You could start with breath, just a longer, slower breath in. And a long, slow breath out. You might even sigh if you like. Eventually, begin to add some small movement back to your body. Your fingers and your toes could wiggle. Your wrists or your ankles could move a little. Any kind of movement that really feels natural to you. You might rock your head from side to side or even reach your arms up. If you're on the ground with legs on the chair or in Shavasana, just laying flat, You can roll over to your side with your knees bent for a moment and your head supported by your bottom arm. If you're farther back in your chair, you could take the support behind your head away and start to come up towards the front of the chair. If you're on the ground, make your way up to a comfortable seat. Maybe that means helping yourself up with the seat of the chair with your hands and then taking a seat in the chair. If you like, you could bring your hands now to the center of your heart, palms touch, for this Anjali Mudra, Heart Mudra. Thank you so much for being here. I bow in honor of you. Namaste. I hope you have a lovely day, a lovely evening whenever you're practicing this. I'll upload the recording of it so you can enjoy any time. And I hope to see you around soon. Bye.